Well, welcome in everybody to another awesome edition of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, and I'll tell you, I am happy today. Why am I happy? Well, a number of reasons. Outside of, we've got a great show with a great guest that's making a return. He hasn't been here for a while. So happy to see him. So happy to have him on. But anyway, it is in the 80s today in Las Vegas, and you know, I'm a hot weather guy, love the hot weather. Beautiful to get out and play some golf. So we hope wherever you're watching and checking us out, you know, you go to our website, 19th Hole Podcast for golfers.com. It's just really, really nice. Plus, I'm happy because our first major is starting today. And that, of course, is the Masters at in Augusta, Georgia, at Augusta National, and we're going to have some information about that too for you. Well, you know what? Let's do that. Let's get that out of the way. I just got some of the top contenders and some of their odds, and I always encourage people to bet golf tournaments. You know, to keep your interest, keep you in the game, so to speak. Some of the top contenders are Rory McIlroy, who is plus 1,100. Xander Schauffele is plus 1,600. Brooks Koepka, out there with a new mallet putter, why, I don't know, is at 1,800. John Rahm is at 1,000. And Jordan Spieth is plus 2,000. Bryson DeChambeau is a plus 3,500. Dustin Johnson, who is playing good, is a plus 4,000. Tiger Woods, who I don't think is going to make the cut if he even finishes 2 rounds, is plus 10,000. So, you know, he's not looked upon as having any chance or any kind of a favorite. Scotty Scheffler, of course, who is just having a magnificent season, winning anything in sight. Of course, he won this in 2002. He's at plus 450. So, you know, if he's plus 450, he's a real favorite. We'll see, though. My long shot is, well, I bet 2 ways. I bet, number one, my long shot is Patrick Reed, who has won there a couple of years ago, knows the golf course intimately, playing really good now. He's got some renewed vigor and energy. Had a great week last week in Miami. So I'm betting Patrick. And I also bet, my main bet was with an offshore place that a live tour player was going to win this event as opposed to any of these individuals, just that somebody from the live tour was going to win. So we'll see how that comes out. So I got my fingers crossed. I'd like to cash another ticket. Anyway, we've got a great show for you. This gentleman has been on before. Like I say, we haven't seen him for a while. He's kind of got a new job that's not really a new job, but he's a great instructor. Brady Riggs was down in Southern California forever, and he is in the Southern California PGA Teachers Hall of Fame. So the guy knows what he's doing, been around for a long time, and people came from all over the country to see Brady and to have him get these people better. So let me, as a matter of fact, let me find another sheet. I'm a little discombobulated today, but anyway, Brady has taught at a number of facilities all around Southern Nevada before he ended up at Woodley Lakes, where I believe he was there for 20 years. They were about to erect a statue to him, for crying out loud, and then he decided to kind of go down to the desert part-time, and we're going to ask him about that. But anyway, my pleasure right now to bring up my friend, Brady Riggs, who's a great guy, great teacher. Brady, so happy to have you on again. It's been a while.
Great to be on, Dennis. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, my friend. And I was just mentioning that you're kind of down at the desert, PGA West, kind of part-time. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I went down to the desert at the kind of the tail end of 2022. I've been down there off and on over the last year and a half now. I go down. There's another really great teacher down there named Brian Lebetovich. He's a Golf Magazine Top 100 guy, and Joe Hallett, who just won the PGA National Teacher of the Year.
Yeah.
And the three of us do some top 100 schools down there, and I'll teach individually down there as well. It's just a great place. The facility is amazing. There's 9 golf courses now
Yeah.
under the PGA West umbrella, and the practice facilities are phenomenal. So it's just an incredible place to go hang out.
It just means I'm going to have to come down to see you, Brady.
Anytime.
I'm gonna have to-
It's not that
I'm-
far from Vegas.
I
You
know.
can make it pretty
Get in
quick.
the car and go. Absolutely. No, that is great. Let me start off and ask you this. Number one, let's get this out of the way. Who do you like in the Masters this year?
Well, I mean, I'm going to go with the very boring pick of Scheffler. I think he's playing the best golf, and if his putting is good, it doesn't need to be great for him to win. I think he's the guy to beat this week.
Yeah.
I think he doesn't need his A game to win, and I don't think there's a lot of guys that you can say that about. But I think he's the guy.
Yeah. The way he's playing is just, you're right, is absolutely phenomenal. But as you know, anybody could get hot on a certain week, start making a lot of putts, and who knows? I think knowing the golf course, having played there many times, not me, but I mean the professionals, is a big, big advantage because when people go to Augusta and they see it in person, they go, oh my God, it looks so different than it does on TV. More false fronts, humps in the fairways. It's almost like links golf, for crying out loud. So it's going to be a very, very good tournament, and we'll just see how it does come out. Brady, what is the most common reason people come to you for your help?
That's a really good question. So I'd say I'd take it in 2 parts. One is if they're a younger player, they're looking to try and make their way to college golf and beyond. I've done that over the years a lot, so I get a lot of younger players that come out for that purpose. And then a lot of times, if somebody's an experienced player, whether they're great or not, they can be a 20 handicapper. A lot of times they've tried a lot of different teachers, a lot of different methodologies, and they've gotten to the point where they're looking for something that's for them rather than something that the teacher is trying to put on everybody. So I tend to get a lot of people coming out that are looking for something a little more personalized because they've been down different routes and it hasn't been as successful as they would have liked.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, let me jump ahead a little bit. As long as you brought that up, if somebody's relatively new and they're looking really to get in the game, fortify their game, what should they look for in looking around for a golf instructor? What traits do you think they need to have in order to help this person?
That's a great question, Dennis. And I think there's a buddy of mine named Tony Ruggiero who teaches out in Alabama. Terrific teacher. And Tony and I have this saying all the time, which is at some point you should go to somebody who at some point taught somebody else how to play well. And I think you need to go to somebody that has experience in making people play better golf.
Yeah.
And no amount of marketing and flash on social media can replace that. There's a lot of people that are not on social media as much that are very busy because they help people play better.
Right.
And I think that's really what you're looking to do is find somebody that's really helped somebody play great golf.
Would you agree with me, Brady, that you don't necessarily have to have been a competitive player yourself to be a good teacher?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that it certainly helps, no question about that, especially with players that are playing on higher levels. You can have conversations with them from a place of experience that you may not be able to have if you haven't played on high levels. But I don't think there's any limit to understanding the mechanics of the golf swing, how biomechanics work, and all the other nuances that you need to become a good teacher. just because you haven't played on a high level doesn't mean you can't understand those things. So I don't think it's a prerequisite, but I
Yeah.
do think on the higher levels, it does give you a little bit of credibility with players that are, trying to play for a living if
Yeah.
you've at least been out there to a certain degree and played.
I agree. I agree that that was well said. Uh, Speaking about biomechanics, you know a
Yes.
lot about that. You know a lot about kinesiology because you were through that when you were going to college. And explain to our all of our viewers, Brady, if you will, what is kinesiology? How does that help you in the golf swing? How do you work it into the golf swing?
Yeah, I mean, kinesiology at its simplest form is basically the study of human movement. And so there's all kinds of things you can study from walking to doing the most
Yeah,
complex thing, like hitting a golf ball. So it's the study of how we move as human beings. And biomechanics takes that to a level where we start to look at it and apply how physics are imparted into a motion to create speed. And I think studying biomechanics, understanding the kinesiology of the body, gives you an opportunity to kind of transfer different sports into golf and vice versa. And it gives you a chance to help people take maybe a sport that they've played their whole lives, or at least as a kid, find some of the commonalities and be able to apply that to the golf swing in a way that makes it feel more natural for them rather than just trying to get into positions.
right, right. That's well said also. But a lot of people hear, oh, biomechanics and kinesia, they think it's very complicated, and it doesn't have to be because you, as a top instructor, kind of work it in subtly, and like you say, you know what to look for, and just makes your swing hopefully a little bit easier. Why do most amateur golfers, Brady, drives me nuts, seem to overcomplicate unnecessarily their golf swing?
Um, it's been going on probably forever, right? I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
for
even
sure.
harder now. I mean, as long as golf's been played, people probably have been trying to find secrets or,
Yeah,
you know, go dive down into the weeds. But I think it is harder now with social media because there's so much information out there, which
yeah,
makes it difficult. And I think what you said before, Dennis, about how do you apply biomechanics, so if I told somebody all the factors that go into jumping off the ground, you could go crazy understanding all the forces and the muscles, right? Or you could just tell somebody to jump. And so what we try to do as teachers is understand kind of how the biomechanics works, but then try to apply it in the most simple way possible. And
yeah.
people definitely make things harder because they try to understand the minutia
Mm-hmm.
instead of seeing kind of the big picture stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it more athletic and more free. And that's what we're all trying to do as players is free up and let it go. And I
Right.
think if you dive down into the weeds, it gets really hard to do that. And people look for secrets, and there are no secrets.
No.
It's pretty simple stuff that's been going on as long as golf's
Yeah.
been played.
Yeah. I think when you look at the golf swing, really overall, Brady, it's not that complicated. You know, you take it back a certain way, you finish the swing in a certain way, and I think when you watch players on tour, whether they be a man, whether they be a woman, that have really simplistic swings, they go, wow, that's so effortless. How do they do that? And I just think, like you say, there's such an overload of information out there today,
Yes.
be it books, be it magazines, be it DVDs, be it YouTube. It just overwhelming. Uh, is there a particular type of swing philosophy that you favor over others for most of your students, and why?
That's a really good question again, Dennis. I think you can definitely see a lot of variability amongst the top 10 players in the
Mm-hmm.
world. They're all over the place,
Yeah.
different grips,
Yeah.
different left wrist positions at the top. Some are explosive through the ball, some don't turn as much. But I think whatever you're doing, you need to do 4 things, and then there's a bonus. So this is kind of how I look at it. You need to control the face and the path, right? I mean,
Right.
if you can't do that, you can't start the ball where you want, and it's going to curve all over the place. So that's pretty simple. Number 2, you got to hit the middle of the face. Really
Yeah.
important to do that. Can't do that, you can't control distance or direction very well. You got to hit the ground where you want to. So if you're hitting a ball off the turf, you need to be able to hit the ground after you hit the ball. And the last thing is you need to produce some speed, and so there's ways to do that. The bonus and the most important thing probably is you don't want to get hurt doing those 4 things. But no matter what you do and no matter what lesson you take, if your instructor isn't working on one of those 4 things, then you need to find another instructor. And they should be able to explain it in a way that makes sense, And them telling you, well, you'll just be more consistent if you do that, is one of the terrible buzzwords in golf instruction. That doesn't mean anything. If I tell you to do something, Dennis, with your swing, I need to tell you, well, the reason your ball is going to the right is because the club face is pointed there when you make contact.
Right.
And it's pointed there because your grip's a little weak in your left hand. And if we strengthen the left hand grip, the face won't be as right, and the ball should go straighter. That's a very logical, sequence to follow. But it often isn't that simple. It's not explained in that way, and there's a lot of kind of endless dark roads you can go down that mean absolutely nothing. So it all comes back to those 4 basic components, and I think there's more commonalities with more neutral grips and left wrist positions that are pretty neutral. They're not too flexed or cupped at the top, and there's all of those things, but basically those can work on tour. We see couples with a left wrist that has a lot of extension, and then you see DJ with a lot of flexion, and they both can work, but I think those are hard to make work for the average player. And so we try to kind of make things neutral and let them have nuance where it works for them.
Yeah. 100% agree with that. I think, though, some of it would depend on the individual's physical makeup, though, Brady. Some people, let's face it, some people are only capable of doing so much.
I'd say the vast majority of people fall into that category, Dennis, where they've got something going on.
Yeah.
And even the players that are really healthy, like younger players going into play high school golf, college golf, they may have specific things their body does better. They can do a lot of things. They're not injured at that point.
Right.
But they may be kind of sinewy and longer with their torso and their arms. And that player's a little different than a guy who's stockier and kind of a little more bulky. But most amateurs that come, they've got something wrong with them, whether it's a knee or an elbow or a back, or you got to adjust for it, and that's really, the job of the teacher and in a lot of ways the student and what they're trying to do off the golf course to really help themselves prolong their enjoyment of the game. Exactly right.
So what you're saying is, you don't want to just put a Band-Aid on the damn thing. You want to find the root cause and get that fixed, and that's going to help you in other areas. All right, I'll tell you what, Brady, stay there. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have a lot more with our special guest, Top 100 instructor, Mr. Brady Riggs. Stay with us. We're coming back right after this. Don't move.
Innovation begins at a single point. Elements, each with their unique character. Fire-forged steel creates unprecedented control. Chemistry delivers a touch so soft, combined to create a level of performance previously unimagined. Like magic, the Elixir, the new tour ball from Encore.
Looking to elevate your golf game to the next level? Introducing True Score Golf, your ultimate companion for mastering the greens and feeling your best while doing it. True Score is more than just a score tracker. It's a brand dedicated to your mental and physical well-being on the course. True Score is the first and only company to offer a full line of premium wellness products for golfers. Crafted with the cleanest, most sustainable ingredients, True Score wellness products keep your body performing on and off the course. Feel better, play better with True Score Golf. Elevate your game and well-being with TrueScore Golf. Visit online today at TrueScoreGolf.com.
All right, continuing right along with our special guest, Mr. Brady Riggs, and having a great discussion about a whole lot of stuff because he knows a whole lot of stuff about the game, obviously. Brady, if you had your choice and you only could get one now, no fudging, would you prefer to have really good swing mechanics or a really good mental game when you play?
Wow. I'd probably go with mental game because you could have a great swing and a bad mental game and play bad.
Yeah.
But I think if you have a bad swing and a great mental game, you could probably still have a good time and get it around a little better.
Yeah.
Good question, Dan.
Yeah. Yeah. When we talk to a lot of really good mental coaches, whatever you want to call them, mental teachers, and there are some very good ones out there that made me realize, because I never thought that much of it, how important having a good mental game is.
Mm-hmm.
And you do play better, you do save shots. Which brings me to my next question, which is what do you tell your students, no matter what level? So I know you teach pros, you teach elite players, you teach beginners, everything in between. What do you tell them about developing and how important having good course management is?
Yeah, I mean, we start right away with that, with people as they're learning the game, understanding how to get the ball in the hole faster. You know what that looks like. You know, on the higher levels, it's can be a little more subtle about choosing different lines off the tee, when to hit driver, if you should lay out, when you should lay out, those types of things. But I think course management too, if you brought in the mental game into that, Dennis, which I think is so important, you need to have a great process, which
Yeah.
is doing the same thing the same way all the time so that it alleviates a lot of stress, learn how
Yep.
to breathe. And then I think one of the things I try to do in my own game and I found really helpful is I try to enjoy every shot I'm hitting. Try to really have a good time hitting that shot, even if it's stressful or people are watching, whatever. I want to try to enjoy it and have a good time with it. I almost want to do it with a chip on my shoulder and feel kind of cocky and arrogant, like I'm going to show you something on this shot. And if you have that mentality versus worrying about the result, it frees you up a lot. And I think that's a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, yeah. How could you feel good, Brady, about watching your ball hit the water or hit the trees or buried in the bunker?
But you can't feel good after it left the club sometimes. But you're
Yeah.
hoping before you move the club it works.
Yeah, that's that is very true. I know people go to the driving range, and I know the game today is, just pound it, hit it as far as you can, chase it, hit it again. And you know what? There's something to that because you watch these guys, hit it so far it's ridiculous. But I think people are missing out on what I call the scoring part of the game, Brady, which is chipping and putting. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I mean, there's 43% of the shots you're hitting are on the green, and if you start adding in the numbers that are within 20 or 30 yards of the green, that skyrockets. So yeah, I mean, it's great to hit a long drive. It's wonderful, and it's very much what you see on the highest levels. But those guys are phenomenal around the greens, and
Yeah.
they're great on the greens. And
Yeah.
most amateurs would do themselves a big favor at becoming really good at putting and hitting basic chip shots and basic bunker shots, because those are the ones that you're going to have most of the time. Hitting a flop shot is really cool and sexy when you can pull it off, but
Sure.
even a great flop shot often doesn't result in making a putt because
Right.
it's not that close to the hole if it was that
Right.
hard of a shot. It's the basic pitches from the
Right.
front of the green, with plenty of green to work with, that people struggle with. And on that point, I would say like two of the best I've ever seen at that I worked with were Danielle Kang and Anthony Kim. They were as great a players as they are, and they're unbelievably exciting. It was the basic pitch shots that were just so impressive. Like, so many times you'd see him hit a shot from right off the front edge, with plenty of green to work with. And if it didn't go in, it looked like it was going to for a long time.
Yeah.
And those are the ones you got to execute. And so if people
Yeah.
spent their times learning those, I think you're right, Dennis. People would enjoy the game a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important, and you could bring down your scores so quick and become a better player, and it's just incredible. Speaking about hitting it off the end of the earth, what's your feeling about rolling back the ball in a few years?
I think on the amateur level, it shouldn't happen. But I think on the highest levels, I mean, Augusta National's 7,500 yards now, a little over 7,500 yards.
Yeah.
It used to be 69, and it's not a slow process that it's going crazy. It's exponentially going crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
in order to keep them from having to make the course 8,000 yards, which might happen soon, they're going to have to do something. And I think the ball rollback is an important piece of the puzzle, but I would love to see them make the driver head smaller, because if you did that, you couldn't swing nearly as hard and hit it all over the face, which they do now. And I
Yeah.
think that would help a great deal. It might even help more than rolling the ball back, because that's really what makes it different. The driver used to be as hard a club as there was in the bag to hit, because if you hit the toe or the heel, it was horrible. You remember the old days with the persimmon head, Dennis, where the ball would spin off the world, right? When you didn't hit it solid with
That's
a
right.
balata ball, my
That's
goodness.
right.
But now you can swing as hard as you want. The face is enormous. The ball doesn't curve a lot.
Right.
And it's the combination of the fact that the ball's going further for sure, and the fact that the club is just so much more forgiving,
Yeah.
that it makes it easier for people to swing as hard as they can. So I don't know that that's on the table, but I sure wish they would include that as well.
Yeah, because I still say, though, Brady, they could design a course at 8,000 yards. These guys would still shoot some good scores.
No question about it.
So
And I
what
think
the hell do you have to do to slow them up?
well, you talk about Harbor Town, right? I mean, talk about courses that take the driver out of your hand a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
that make it a priority to hit the fairway, or you're blocked out a lot. I mean, making the courses wider and taking a lot of trees off the golf courses is not making it harder. It's making it a lot easier.
Yeah.
And if you grow the rough at a decent level,
Yeah.
and you make it, put some trees on the edges of the fairways where guys can't go over right off the tee box, and they have to shape shots a little bit more and control the
Yep.
distances and the direction, I think it's tougher. Like the longest hitters in the world don't usually go play at Harbor Town for that reason.
Like that.
They don't want to play that course.
Yeah. They like something that, like any tour pro, that fits their game. They know they could, have a chance and do
Yes.
fairly well. That's a good point. At what point in a golfer's career, and that's a bad way to put it, should they start to consider getting fitted for clubs? And would that really help them that much, spending a lot of cash?
Well, I think if you are of average size, height, then you have a better chance at buying something off the rack that wouldn't be that bad for you.
Yeah, right. Because they
The
don't make
second
bad
you're
clubs
not.
today, do they?
No,
They
they're
don't
not.
make
They're not
bad
making
clubs
bad
today.
clubs. They don't. And you know, basic fitting at a place, you know, even an indoor place that's just going to test the shaft or whatnot.
Right.
If you're an average sized person, you're probably going to do okay. But the second you're not, shorter, taller,
Right.
wider, any of those things, you're going to have a problem if you're playing with something that's standard length and standard lie angle, and you'd be better off finding somebody who knows what they're doing. And the better you get, like I always tell people this, like if you can't hit any club, you can't hit any club. You know, like a beginner is not going to hit a 4-iron regardless of what the 4-iron is, right? It's just not
Right.
going to happen. So they don't need the level of fitting that a tour player would hit, right? They
Right.
need to have it at a completely different level.
Right.
But I think it shows, like, if you can hit a club, you can hit any club. Like a tour player could hit a 7-iron off a rack and hit it great. And the opposite is true for a lot of people that are just starting out. But it is important as you start to move along in the game that your equipment doesn't hold you back. And I think that's what you want it to do. You want it to at least not hold you back. And I think a proper fitting is critical when you're playing competitive golf. And even if you're just playing a lot of golf and your body's not normal, I think it would really help you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Describe it a little bit for our viewers in case they happen to be down in that area, and some live down in that area. What your schools are like. What do you cover?
Oh.
How do you get involved?
But that's a great question. So we have the schools we're doing right now in the desert are, we call them Golf Magazine Top 100 Experience. And what those are, the three of us, the top 100 teachers that are down there, we put 2, 3, and 4-day schools together that are really fun. There, we do club fitting, actually is involved in that as well.
Really?
There's fitness involved. We work on all different aspects of the game, but we do handle things maybe a little differently than a basic normal school would. We're on the golf course, which is always fun. We played the back nine at Stadium 2 days ago with the school that we had, which was really entertaining. But we talk a lot about course management, like you just talked about, Dennis, and how to practice. So we spend a lot of time on how people are spending their time when they're not with an instructor to try and make that as productive as possible. So we go through different practice kind of programs, and I think people leave there with an opportunity to really go on their own, improve, which is what we really should be doing as teachers, giving people kind of the knowledge that they can go practice and improve when they're not with somebody else.
Right. How much credence do you put into, well, a couple things. Let me answer this first, though. Depending on the instructor that I talk to, some put a lot more into something than others. Training aids. What's your feeling about training aids, number one? And number two, do you use training aids, Brady, when you teach?
I don't very often. I think that if you know how to do something, the training aid is easy to use. And the second you don't, it can be very difficult to use properly. I think that a lot of the things that people purchase, they can use on their own. You know, I just think people spend a lot of money in different areas of the game that they don't need to spend.
Yeah.
And I think what you said earlier, Dennis, is true. You know, the swing's not that complicated. It just isn't. And I think if you have good instruction, you have a good idea what you're trying to do, you don't necessarily need to go have a lot of training aids. I think different types of drills are good.
Yeah.
And different short swings and slow swings, those are great ways to learn. I don't think you need to spend money on the training aids. I would say that, you know, that some people benefit from using bigger things, like, let's say, a tennis racket to understand where the face is.
Right.
Tennis ball is great for putting with because it makes your golf ball look a lot smaller when you're hitting it and the hole looks huge. Those types of things can be helpful, but I really don't necessarily think you have to use them, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. There are good ones and there are bad ones, but
Sure.
It's a big business, you know, no matter,
It is.
You know, no matter what you do. All right. Same type of question. Again, I ask instructors this all the time. You get different answers. Your opinion about playing lessons.
Critical.
That's interesting. Okay.
The most important thing you can do is get a student on the golf course. One of the things I loved about being in Hawaii, where I was teaching for a couple of years, and I still go back to, is that there's not a lot of people on the golf course. So I'll have somebody come out for 2 hours, and we'll spend 45 minutes on the range and hit chips and putts and see where they are. Then we go out on the golf course for another 45 minutes, and then come back and work on some of the things that we saw on the course. I mean, you can see things on the course that you had no idea were wrong. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And every day, I work with people for the day down in the desert often, and we'll work from 9 to 12, have a little lunch, putt for an hour or so, and then we'll go out and play 9 holes at least with them to see where their game is on the golf course. I can't imagine how you could really help somebody get better without seeing them play.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. But yeah, most of the instructors that I talk to, the top instructors like yourself, really do put a lot of credence into playing lessons. You know, let me see what you could do out in the golf course. Let me see what you can do when you're faced with a trouble shot. How you thinking, and you know, that type of thing. So you're right. Anyway, all right, Brady, we are up against a hard break. Stay right there. We're going to take a minute or two and step away. When we come back, we will finish with our great guest, Mr. Brady Riggs. Back right after this. One of the perks about being in golf media is that I get to try every club ever made. Of course, like most things, some are better than others. I'm here to tell you that I have found unquestionably the absolute best performing set of irons I have ever played, and my scores show it. Let me introduce you to Grindworks, custom fitted irons that are made to fit your game. Grindworks offers players 3 different styles of irons. You can choose muscleback irons, cavity back irons, and even blades, along with some awesome wedges. And when you purchase your clubs, Grindworks lets you choose the type of shaft you want, the type grip you prefer, and even will adjust the loft and lie of your clubs if needed. That's unheard of. So what are you waiting for? Feel the power and experience and performance of these amazing clubs. Simply go to grindworksusa.com or call 281-651-4046 to order. Trust me, your handicap will love you for it. The revolutionary Power to Golf Club requires no swing to hit golf shots from 50 up to 225 yards. That's right, no swing. It's empowering golfers with physical issues to continue enjoying time golfing with friends and family. With just the push of a button, the easy-to-use Power to Golf Club launches shots down the fairway and onto the green. Whether a physical issue or just want to join in on the fun, the Power to Golf Club is for you. Visit online, powergolfclub.com.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
All right, we have returned, and we're going to be finishing up the show. A couple of minutes with our guest, Brady Riggs. And Brady, let me ask you, what's your opinion about the Live Tour overall?
The level of competition is not great. I don't like the format of 54 holes. I'm saddened for where the game is right now. In fact, the fact that we're sort of split with so much talent, but I don't know that it's a sustainable model in its current state. I don't watch it. I think one of the things that I found interesting as a golf fan is that I like watching the courses that I know, and the
Yeah.
tournaments that I know.
Yeah.
And I think that is, it's kind of nice to see, that I still like to watch, Pebble Beach, and I love Riviera, and you know how great a golf course that is. And I do find it compelling that those courses and the tournaments do matter, not just the players. And I don't see that type of tradition on Live, and I don't know that any new tour could have that. And I think that
Yeah.
makes it challenging. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not enthralled by it in any way.
Well, there's a lot of back and forth about it, and
Sure.
it's going to be interesting to see where it ends up. In a couple of years, if if they could put some kind of deal together, and get all of this open wounds, if you will, patched up, and it's just been a very, very interesting thing. I know a couple of players on Live. They like it, obviously, because of the money, number one, because of the schedule, number two, spending more time off the course with their family, traveling a lot more, to courses overseas. They play here to a certain degree. They were just here in Las Vegas about a month ago, Las Vegas Country Club. I went out and watched them on Sunday. And it's just a little bit different. But like you say, it's the traditionalists that I think have more of a problem than anybody else. The 54-olds, come on. The music, come on. Oh, they get to wear the shorts, come on. And 54-old, you still got to put the pedal to the metal, man, and and score if you're going to win a tournament. But like you say, it's going to be interesting to see what what happens with it. I think, and you tell me what you think about this. I know that the Masters is there primarily and won't ever change because of Bobby Jones. That was his course. Why not move the Masters? Every other damn major does, outside of the Players, if you can consider that, a major, which I don't. But move it around. There's so many other good courses that they could play the Masters at. Come to Las Vegas, for crying out loud. We got some good courses out here. Why not?
That's an interesting idea. I mean, I think the Masters is Augusta National,
Yeah.
and it is basically the two are forever intertwined.
Right.
I think one of the neat things about the PGA, because the PGA doesn't get a lot of credit as being it's kind of the redheaded stepchild of the major championships, but
yeah.
they've gone to great venues over the last probably 10 years, and they continue to do that. I think the Women's Open's going to great venues. There's something to be said for going to different venues across the landscape. I think you just get an opportunity to see different parts of the country, and I think that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
But I think the Masters is, it basically is where it is. I don't know that you could replicate. People have tried to replicate Augusta National, but I just think one of the things I like about it so much, and I think, Dennis, this is why I like a lot of the other tournaments that we're just talking about with Live, is that I know the holes. I know the history on all the holes. I know how those putts break. I can remember, all the guys that have hit out of the bunker on 18, and Sandy Lyle shot when he won, and I think that there's that familiarity with the golf course, and
that's a good
point. It's really kind of, I don't know. It is sort of like, it might be the greatest sporting event in the world.
Yeah, that's
hard to argue with that right now.
Yeah, that's a very, very, very good point. And I'm going to have a chance Saturday night. I'm going to be in studio on 8 News Now, Channel 8, our CBS Sports affiliate, talking about the Masters, and on Sports Wrap with Ron Futrell and Chris Matthews. So we'll get a chance to. That's a good point that I'm going to bring up. So I hope everybody gets to tune in. We'll see, what's happening going into the last round. And, but I just, there's so many wonderful courses. Move it once in a while, and stuff. I could see the Players all right at there, but okay, whatever. And anyway, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, I'm going down to the desert for a week, and I go, good, go see Brady, go work on your game. How do they get a hold of you?
Well, you can always reach out directly to PGA West. That's one way to go, PGA West Golf Academy. You can follow me on Instagram, which a lot of people do. That's a great way to get me. I'm at Red Goat. It used to be Red Dennis, probably when you knew me back in the day.
Yeah.
It is no longer, but that's probably the easiest way to get me is just follow me on Instagram
Yeah.
and reach out to me with a message, and I can let you know where I am. I'm in one of the 3 or 4 places that I teach at any time. So.
Yeah, and like you said, PGA West, just a wonderful, wonderful facility. Real briefly, I know that you're heavy into coaching soccer.
Yes.
How'd that come about?
I had a young daughter. My oldest started to play at about 4, so I started coaching her. Then both daughters played, and I coached them through club soccer for a very long time. And then when they went to high school, the high school coach at where I was being fired when my oldest was becoming a freshman. So they asked me to come in and do the job, and I had a 6-year plan, Dennis, where I was going to coach just for the 6 years my daughters were there.
Right.
I just finished year 11 of the 6-year plan,
Woo.
and I'm officially retiring this year, so I'm excited about that.
All right.
From coaching. It's been a great run. I've really enjoyed it, but 21 years is enough. I think
that is enough. Yeah, good for you. Good on you.
Thank you.
So when are you coming to Vegas to play golf?
It's a good question. I haven't been to Vegas and played. I was back there a little bit last summer with Danielle over at TPC Summerlin.
Nice.
I love playing in Vegas. There's so many good courses there to go play. I miss being out there and playing. I haven't been out, and it's been far too long since I've been out to the desert.
You are more than welcome, your friend. You got a place to stay. We could get out, and I could get you out at a couple of courses and to a side and bring some cash. We'll see what happens.
I might take you up on that deal, Dennis.
I hope you do. I hope you do. Anyway, Brady, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for taking time out and coming on the show. Great to see you, and we'll definitely have you back sooner than later. I'm planning on coming down to see you down there, spend a couple of days. It would be absolutely great. Of course, I'll give you a heads up, and just great information. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dennis. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate being on.
Hey, my pleasure. Anytime. Brady Riggs, everybody. Just a great guy. All right, we will take our last break. We'll also hit you with this week's the Golf Minute, and we'll come back, wrap up the show. Be right back. The revolutionary Power to Golf Club is helping golfers around the world continue to enjoy the greatest game of all. This amazing club requires no swing to hit shots from 50 up to 225 yards. That's right, no swing to hit shots, including fades, draws, low shots, as well as high ones. One incredible club does it all. Golfers with a wide variety of physical issues, including bad backs, hips, shoulders, and more, are now back in the game golfing with friends and family. Just set the club to the desired distance, and with a push of the button, the easy-to-use Power to Golf Club launches shots down the fairway and onto the green. The Power to Golf Club has been endorsed by some of the biggest names in golf, and the number of golfers enjoying the game by use of our unique technology continues to grow. Whether a physical issue or just want to join in on the fun, the Power to Golf Club is for you. Don't be left on the sidelines. Get back in the game today. Visit at powergolfclub.com.
Carter Bonus of Spectrum Golf not slowing down. His 3rd year at the PGA Show, and the cameras are still following him. This time, Whistle Sports Media and Entertainment and Fox 35's morning show in Orlando, Florida. Spectrum Golf Apparel, one of the few lines selected for the PGA Fashion Show, is designed with skin sensitivity in mind, like Carter's. Get your super soft golf gear today at carterspectrumgolf.com.
Hi, I'm Dennis Silvers here for 8 News Now, and I'm here with longtime teaching professional Tom Mutzler. We're at Eagle Crest Golf Club in Sun City, Summerlin. And Tom, I think a major problem with most amateur players is alignment and direction.
You're absolutely right, Dennis. It's almost impossible for me to aim this club face accurately at a target that's 100, 150, 200 yards down the range. So what I have to do is find an intermediate target, something a foot to 2 or 3 feet in front of me, that's on the line that I want to start my golf shot. I've cheated here and put a pebble out here and, along my target line, but I'm going to walk in looking at that intermediate target, aim my club face first, and then step in to take my stance, and now I'm ready to make my swing.
Tom, thanks. That was great advice. I know that's going to help a lot of our viewers become better players. For the Golf Minute, I'm Dennis Silvers. We'll see you all back next time. Hi, everyone. I'm Dennis Silvers, host of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers. I'm not going to be talking about golf, but rather what's referred to as America's pastime. That's right. I'm talking baseball. I'm here to tell you about a movie that's going to come to a theater near you soon called Old Timers Day. This is a movie unlike anything ever made before. It's simply a story about two fantasy ball teams, one being managed by Satan himself, called the Neon Kings, that play against a team of old timers who are very recognizable, called the Sin City Angels. It is simply good against evil. This movie will help to engage the millions of baseball fans around the country, around the world for that matter, and satisfying the millions of people that have faith and compassion for their fellow man. You may ask, well, Dennis, who wins the game? Well, you are just going to have to see the movie to find out, plus have a moving experience at the same time. Old Timers Day is brought to you by the Celestial Baseball Association, who are hitting home runs for God. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers. For Brady, I'm Dennis Silvers, and we wish you nothing but fairways and greens. Get out and play some golf and enjoy the Masters tournament this week if you're going to stay home and watch it and not play. So anyway, we'll see you back same place, same time next week. So long, everybody.